Remember that game you really liked as a kid? What about that one? Or that one? Where are they now? Nostalgia is a strong feeling, but above that, Arief and I truly think that these are games we'd love a remake or a continuation of, and they totally rock in 2023. From Soul Reaver to Neopets, we spend this episode talking about which franchise we'd love to make a comeback. Later, our Game of the Year predictions continue with all of you. Thanks to the comments and contributions from our community, we'll be sharing your thoughts on what your pick for Game of the Year 2023 is. This is the 20M Podcast. How's everyone doing? Welcome to the 20M Podcast. We're a little mellow today, I would say, but happy and excited to be here. I'm today's host, Rino, joined together by my other host, Arief. Hello.
Hello. I don't know what you're talking about. I feel flipping great.
Yeah. You look awesome, dude. Better than me.
Thank you. I can't tell if that's facetious or not. It's like really hard. It's like, yeah, you look great. Anyway.
You've got two layers on. You got a jacket on, so you're respectable. I'm basically in like my pajamas.
Yeah, but the sacred symbols are like the most valiant of imagery ever. So therefore it's pretty much like armor or whatnot, So
audio listeners, I guess you'll have to check out the YouTube video.
Yeah,
for the sacred symbols.
Screw the audio listeners, come to the YouTube channel.
They think I'm part of a cult or something.
I'm wearing a Murakami shirt. I feel like that is very cultured,
I have that one. It's a good one.
We should have matched.
We should have, but you didn't tell me. You didn't text me beforehand. You just
I'll
wanted
do tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Yeah, just like in general, we just wear the same thing all day. We're not even on content or anything like that. How are you? It's good to jump on this. I say that as if it's a meeting. It's good to touch base anyway. So what do we want to get done today?
Well, I think today we'll try and take it a bit easier, right? We've had back-to-back some pretty insane previous episodes. We had lots of really cool guests, and we'll rattle them off a bit later because I can't remember them right now. But
we've had some really cool guests.
We did talk Game of the Year with Michael Heim on the last episode, and I know we're going to get into that a little bit later as well because we got some interesting comments and responses from our community about who they think should be Game of the Year, so we'll address that as well. But since we're kind of in a reflective state, I think we also talked about, games that we're missing from our childhood or from previous past lives, franchises we wished we could bring back. We're going to talk about that as well.
Yeah, I love that topic because it's like there's always, when you're hanging out with a bunch of gamers, like capital G gamers, and it's like, midnight and it's like towards the end of the night and you're just kind of chilling together and you're just kind of like, I wish they brought back X game. And then everybody's like, oh my God, yeah, I used to play that as a, you know what I mean? And then it's just like a reminisce of good times, but none of us were actually playing multiplayer games with each other. It was like we were all just playing that game, but all separately in our own like experiences.
I mean, I think it's just
so I'm excited for this.
Like, being part of what used to be like a very niche hobby. And then we all grew up separately having the same experience. And now like 20 years later, we're meeting and it's like, oh my God, you remember that? That kind of thing. It's like, I wasn't able to talk about this with anyone. And now I'm really glad I can. So it's very cool. It's very cool.
Yeah, I love it. Mm-hmm. Let's jump right into it, Reno. I don't care how your day, I don't care how your week was. I don't care what you've been doing. Let's talk about some nostalgia games,
All right. Well, the thing is like, so we did a bit of prep for this, right? And when I was thinking about previous games, it was almost like thinking about like old friends that you forgot about or lost touch with. And it's like, oh, I wonder how they're doing, in the way you like Facebook search like a person you sat next to in like primary school or something. Yeah. So I did that for Wikipedia on Wikipedia. And the game that I first thought of is Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver.
Wow, I don't know that game. Like, I never played it as a kid, but I hear people talk about it these days, like all the time.
So it's part of the Legacy of Kain series. I think there's like 5, which I didn't know. I thought there was just like 2. I thought it died after the one that I actually played, but Wikipedia told me otherwise. And my history with this is when I got my PlayStation, I got it with my dad, and we were allowed to choose, I think, like 10 games to come with the PlayStation. And I think my dad was like, you can choose
Southeast Asia 5. Piracy.
You can choose 5. I can choose 5. And so I chose whatever was like cute and, striking. I had no concept of whatever, right? And my dad chose whatever he wanted. And then one of it was Soul Reaver. And I looked at the cover, I was like, this is so scary. Like, I'm not going to play this. So all I did was just watch my dad for the longest time. And then I just got really into it just from watching his playthrough. You know, this is almost like before streaming was a thing, but like I would just watch my dad, right? One viewer. So Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver is like a dark fantasy action adventure game. It is pretty gothic, pretty edgy, I would say, pretty metal for that time. I think the devs, you can probably quote them in a previous article where they say like, oh, we wanted to make games for adults, like I guess games that are not just geared towards kids. And so it has a lot of like biblical references, analogies. The one that I played is like the sequel, so the next iteration. And it's just about like a group of like vampires who are, I don't know, kind of like high up in the hierarchy, I guess in the sense of like they're like the kings and queens of vampires. And then the Kain is the anti-hero from the previous game. He's now like a king or something. It's like 1,000 years after the first game. And there's a guy named Raziel who's his lieutenant. And I think there's a really, really cool opening scene where like Raziel gets his wings and it's really beautiful. I think it's like a metaphor for like being like an angel. And Kain gets super jealous. Kain like rips his wings off and it's really, really gross. It's like, whoa, it just happens in the first 5 minutes. And then like tosses him, he dies, gets brought back to life by some other supernatural force. And now he's like a wraith. Like some kind of like in between dead and living being, and he's trying to get revenge against everyone.
That's super cool. So they haven't. Well, so my history with Legacy of Kain was I only know this game because this was one of Amy Hennig's projects, like before not notorious, but like I think a lot of people in this day and age know Amy Hennig from Uncharted. But even that, it's like, she departed Naughty Dog and Uncharted like before Uncharted 4 as well. So I don't really know if like kids know Amy Hennig nowadays as well. But like, one of those giant figures in the video games industry. I remember like Legacy of Kain was one of the ones that she was like accredited for, like helping create and stuff like that. But I literally I just hear about this game, like everybody gets so excited about it, but it sounds so badass, But it also like looks like such a era, like, when you can look at a game and it's like, that's an era of video games. Like this one is just so stark as well.
Yeah, it feels like that. I mean, because they're all vampires and they're like vampires that not in the same vein as like Buffy and Angel, but that kind of genre of vampire before they became like sparkly and beautiful and stuff.
And like stuff like that. Yeah.
But what I really think makes this game quite cool is because he is like I said, like this being that's kind of like riffing between like dead and alive. So he can actually shift between material and spectral planes. So when you're going through spaces and there's like obviously puzzles you have to do, like pulling blocks, getting to the next room and things like that. Sometimes you're blocked because you can't lift something in the material world. So then you switch to the spectral world, and then you can hop on over somewhere else, figure something out, and then come back to the material world and then like solve it as well. It's like having 2 different modes of gameplay, which I think back then was like pretty revolutionary.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then also there's like different types of like enemies you can fight. There's like humans, there's like ghost type people, and like vampires. But the vampires, you have to kill them in very specific ways, just like
I
vampires.
love that.
So you can like knock them until they get stunned, but then you end up having to like impale them, throw them in the light, throw them in a fire. It's like it's pretty like full on in that sense. And then after that, you suck in their souls to regain your health and things like that.
Of course you do. Of course you do. It sounds so badass. It sounds so edgy as well. It's like I just want to know like what was this, like early 2000s, late 90s? Like
I think about it.
PlayStation.
Also, again, if we're talking about that genre, like when you think about music, then it's like, I don't know, like Korn, like Evanescence.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
Vibe, like heavy metal, alt metal kind of thing.
Yeah. I totally agree. I was going to say, it's like, what a reflection of the time. I was like, what other video games like came out at that general era? It's like the twisted metal kind of like, I don't know, tune of like, just, it's so punk. It's so like, literally it's metal, right? And it's like, just so edgy. I just think it's hilarious if you take a look at like history of video games as a reflection, because like video games is an art form as well. It's like just a reflection of times, right? Whether it be like political or like social or whatever, right? And it's like, what a cool game to come out of that era. Yeah.
But like, where is it now?
Where is it? I don't know. Like, has there been any, like, have you been, I don't know. Is there anything about this game that's been percolating? Like, do fans really want this game? I'm really curious. Because I think this whole conversation,
like,
right?
Yeah. It had, I mean, the IP just had like changes of hands over the years. And right now I think it sits with Embracer Group.
Oh, because it's under Crystal Dynamics, right?
Yeah. I think Square Enix had it for a time as well, sometime in like late 2000s. So I don't know. Again, like I just riffed off the Wikipedia page earlier, and I think the last line was like, "Embracer Group is interested in producing more games," and
Of
that's it.
course.
Of course, they are.
Of course.
They'll take their time.
Multi-conglomerate Embracer Group obviously wants to make more money.
Do something with it.
Yeah, do it. Embracer Group, do it. Call Embracer Group right now. It's like
on speed
kid
dial.
on their shareholders like meetings. Do you remember that? Did you see that kid who? I say kid, I don't know who they are, but like was at a Nintendo shareholders meeting about Splatoon and like complained about Splatoon or something like that.
Was this a meme or?
No, it was like there was an actual like public Nintendo shareholders meeting, and like this person paid like $3,000 or something to get enough shares to like attend that meeting, and then just complained about Splatoon on the.
But it was a. Oh, sorry, you said kid, but not an actual kid. Because
no,
my image is like
a small child.
No,
I don't think it's an actual kid. No.
Okay.
An immature person, maybe.
All right, that's pretty funny. Yeah, that's gonna be me at the next group channels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. That's really cool.
Yeah, what was yours? Let's
it's a kind of reflection of like these are the games, like complete opposite games of what we were playing. Because I guess like Reno just absolute badass, like so edgy, like listening to cool music and like all that kind of stuff. Like I was the complete opposite, man. I want to know, where the heck is Zoo Tycoon, dude? I fucking love Zoo Tycoon so much, and I can't like I think about that game every month. Like every single month, I'm like, I feel sad and lonely, but also like I need something that's comforting. And to me, that's Zoo Tycoon, and I don't have it. I don't have it in my hands, you know? So Zoo Tycoon is mine. Like if I were to get a franchise to be properly rebooted with the love, care, and attention that it deserves.
Only with the love, care, and attention.
Well, I only say that because there was, exactly. Well, because like they did Zoo Tycoon for Xbox fairly recently, like I guess like in the past 5-ish years, I guess. But it's like nobody played it, you know. So I want Zoo Tycoon to come back. Do you remember Zoo Tycoon?
I didn't play. I mean, I understand what the Tycoon series is about, but maybe you can enlighten me a bit more. Like, how does it play out in like a zoo setting? Like, are you just building lots of like, are you just micromanaging the animals inside your zoo?
Yeah, exactly. It's like my first like iteration is my first ever PC game, I feel as well, right? So it's like you are just managing a zoo, everything from the entertainment like booths that like bathrooms, food, trash, entertainment just for the guests, but also you get to like micromanage the animals themselves. And my favorite thing about it was that like you could also breed animals and stuff like that. So like, oh, your zoo starts off with 2 lions, right? But then they would grow to have like 6 lions, and then your zoo would become so big. I'm like, I'm gonna sell these flipping lions because like the overhead is way too much for these guys, you know. And then the coolest thing about the first Zoo Tycoon was that they had 2 expansions that were so wacky but still made sense, which is one of them was marine like life.
Oh,
and so
okay.
you could have whales, and it was so cool. It's like people could watch the whale show and all that kind of stuff. And get this, you know, the 3rd expansion for the original Zoo Tycoon, dinosaurs. Like just straight up dinosaurs. So you could have like a T-Rex in like one enclosure and then like zebras in the other enclosure. And it was super cool because according to terrain and animal personalities, they could live in one place, you know? So you would have like a penguin with a saber tooth, actually maybe not a saber tooth type, but like, anyway, it was just like a cool, like, just like wacky yet extremely sophisticated sim. And for me, I always got frustrated because everybody talked about Roller Coaster Tycoon, and I'm like, oh, you normies, like of course you guys like Roller Coaster Tycoon, all you want is the thrill. I'm managing a zoo here, all right? I've got living beings, like living entities that I have to take care of and like shovel all their crap and like make sure their enclosures are good. So I love Zoo Tycoon so much. I feel like that's one that's like missing from my life right now.
I didn't play Roller Coaster Tycoon, but I played Sim Theme Park, which I guess is like
this is the equivalent, I guess.
Exactly the same thing. And I just remember being stressed all the time. Like all of these management games are so stressful. There's like, I don't know, do you have it in Zoo Tycoon? There's like a little buddy that tells a person that tells you like what's happening. So like, I
don't remember.
Like in like Sim Theme Park, there'll be like a person who just kind of like tells, like you can see like the metrics of happiness overall and all of that, but there's like a little person that goes like, like the guests think your ticket prices are a steal, like raise the prices. And you raise it up, and then the next thing he's like, oh my god, it's too expensive.
Yeah, like, exactly. Who told you that? Oh my god, how dare you? That's not what I said, you know. What a middle management kind of like or like an advisory. It's like a consulting, you know, like firm that helps out, and then you actually do it and like, no, you can't do that. Like what the hell are you thinking?
Yeah, exactly like that. But no, okay, Zoo Tycoon, very cool.
But the thing like is that like I you might be saying, like, people listening to this might be like yelling at their screens. It's like, or if like Planet Zoo is out, and like you have some other more indie experiences like Let's Build a Zoo, and then you have some other like general management sims that are of that ilk, you know. But I'm like, no, I want Microsoft's Zoo Tycoon to come back properly. Well, honestly, I hear Planet Zoo is actually really, really good. Like I feel like Frontier is the de facto sim company now. One of them, I would say, like in the games industry, but I just haven't given Planet Zoo a shot. So maybe I should do that.
I think, like, I mean, I always liken these kind of games to similar to like the farming sim type. Like there has to be a very sophisticated kind of game mechanic that doesn't feel too repetitive, but is fun, even though it is technically work. So maybe it's like, even though there are other types of zoo management games, like it needs to be of that specific style that you're used to, a specific mechanic that is what brings you joy.
Yeah. So. It's like the Marie Kondo things. Like, Zoo Tycoon brings me joy. I will not throw it away. Thank you. Yeah, that was fine. I love Zoo Tycoon so much. Where are my Zoo Tycoon fan? Like in the YouTube comments, and like if you're on Spotify right now, text me. Just shoot me a DM. It's like I need the uprising of Zoo, because I need to know who else plays Zoo Tycoon, because I'm telling you, man, when like I tell people about it, everybody's like, oh, I played Roller Coaster Tycoon. And I want the Zoo Tycoon revolution to occur. So DM me, tweet at me, like put it in the comments, like, did you play Zoo Tycoon? And that's it.
Were there any other tycoons, like School Tycoon, or I don't know, like Hospital Tycoon? Like what other genres are there in the Tycoon series?
Chemical Manufacturing Tycoon, like, you know, the most like nascent of industries, like Rubber Plantation Tycoon.
Oh my god, that'd be such a Malaysian tycoon thing. Exactly. Rubber Plantation Tycoon.
No, I have no idea.
Durian Farm Tycoon.
Durian Farm Tycoon. What's your next game that you want to revive? If you had all the money in the world, all the resources in the world, like, what is the next game you want to revive that is dead?
I would bring back the Tenchu series. Are you?
No, you nerd. I haven't heard that name in forever.
These are the games that, like, I think these are from my dad's. Like, these are the 5 I'm buying, and then my 5 were like Spyro, Crash Bandicoot, like all the cute ones, and then these ones that looked scary at the beginning, and then he played it. I'm like, oh, okay, I see something here. Yeah, so Tenchu is a ninja game, right? It's an action adventure stealth game. It's like it's the only stealth game I played, I think, from the, like, I've played Tenchu, Wrath of Heaven, and then Tenchu, like the first one, I think it's called Stealth Assassin. But like these are the only kinds of stealth games I've played, and the way they do it is just so cool. It's like the ultimate like ninja role playing experience. You know, you're sneaking around, and then the enemies, that you have like a little bar that, you know, tells you when it goes all the way up, it's like they've spotted you, and then you run away, and like the game rewards like stealth kills. So if you just like jump in front and just fight them, like your characters just aren't that good at it. Like they really just hyper specialize in stealth kills, and I think the items are all really cool. You got a grappling hook, and you can hook it to buildings and like zip line up here and zip line up there. It just feels really dynamic and really, really fun.
Yeah. So why do you think it's gone? Why do you think that franchise is gone?
I actually don't know. I saw that like the first few games, like the ones I played, were scored very highly, and then the last few, they just tanked, and then I think they just like quietly disappeared. I don't know why. Like I think like ninjas are pretty cool and they're pretty endearing, but maybe it's been overtaken, like the whole like Japanese fantasy genre or like historical feudal drama genre is like being overtaken by things like Ghost of Tsushima or like you know, other games that are kind of similar. I'm sure they also have like stealth elements, but this game is like almost entirely like stealth oriented. The only time you do like proper combat, I think, is with like the final boss, where it's like a confrontation, so obviously you can't just like jump in and eat them. But did you ever play Tenchu?
No, but I'm looking at some of the covers right now as well, and it just reminds me so much of like the games that I would flip through at the store. Like, because like, look, this is a Southeast Asia podcast at the end of the day, right? Especially coming from our experiences, and like when you had the pirated PS2, Xbox games or whatever, where you would just like flip through a bunch of like just whatever games that they had at the store. I feel like the Tenchu series is ones that I would see flipping through that like giant list of like ring-binded pirated games, you know. So but it does, like, I'm looking at it now and this is such a you game. This is so you. It's like I feel like a lot of these games are like built, your personality is this way because of these experiences.
I built around
these games. Yeah,
I made these characters my personality basically, and it's like it's so interesting because, you know, you grow up in Southeast Asia, you don't have access to the same kind of like gaming magazines or TV shows, or no one talks about on the radio, so you really just buy games based on like what the cover looks like within those ring binders, or word of mouth through your friends. Like, I think maybe I would tell them, oh my God, Tenchu is so cool. Then they go and look for it in their respective like pirated like CD shop near their house. So it's such an interesting way that games become popular in Southeast Asia. It's just like purely just like word of mouth.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. No, this is super, super cool. I want to look up some gameplay in a bit as well, but it's like I agree. Like there's I feel like there was a dip in that genre or like the setting of game and that type of game. But you're right. I feel like there is a total resurgence of like I guess like more traditional Japanese like stealth type games, which I guess like originate from maybe this era of Japan, or like this type of it's not mythology, because like I don't know. Like
it's like historical, but with elements. I mean, like in Tenchu, like the boss is like a demon, so there is some mythology in it, but it's obviously rooted in historical Japan.
Exactly. Yeah, but I feel like there is a deep resurgence of that like genre, that type of setting as well.
I just want a game that is like more weighted towards stealth, because like even freaking like Genshin Impact has like certain stealth mini games, and they're just awful. They're just like, all you do is just like stay behind as far as possible until the game says like, oh, you're lagging behind, run up and then hide behind a box for like 10 seconds. Like that's not real stealth, right? That's just falling someone behind really slowly. I think, I mean, like I can't confess that I would know a lot about the genre since I've only played like Tenchu, but like what makes it really good is that there's like multiple different ways you can tackle a problem, right? You're not just hiding behind the only box in the field. It's like you grapple hook up here, or you can wait there, wait for him to turn around, and then you go down and like chop his head off, or you put traps there. Like you can put caltrops, or you can put like poisonous rice cakes, I think, and then he goes there, eats it, gets kind of like stunned, and then you go over there and kill him. So it's like different ways you can tackle the issue. Whereas I feel like most games that just have stealth as an add-on, it just becomes tiring, because it's like, why don't I just go up there and knock the guy down? Whereas in Tenchu, you can't do that, because if you do that, it just takes long. You just bring more attention. Your character's not strong enough to do like one-on-one. So there's like actual stakes involved, I feel.
Yeah.
So yeah, please give me some Rex, folks.
That's awesome.
Yeah. All right. Your turn.
I'm gonna cop out. I'm gonna go cop out completely, because this would have been one that is like I would have a whole spiel and a whole plea to bring this one back.
It's like Kingdom Hearts. It is coming back, right?
No. But the game that I'm about to say is actually coming back, right? And it's like there was a recent announcement this past week, and if you're listening to this in like current time, this week, the week of July, the last week of July 2023, my original one was bring Neopets back. Like, I need the Neopets. Like, I just need that world to come back. I need that franchise to come back. I need that website to come back. I need that feeling of just like that era of RPG light web browser games that has so much progress and so many things to do. But it just gone into the world. Like, I just need all of that back. And then, like 2 weeks ago or something, they said that Neopets is under new management, and that they're hard, like, pivoting the franchise back into like what the fans and the developers originally wanted. And they got John Legend to be like one of the ambassadors.
That's what I was going to ask.
And it's like,
what's happening?
They're going real. They have money now. They have like actual money to like. They're serious about bringing it back. I have no idea. I actually don't know the logistics of it, but I know they were owned by like not Time Warner. It's like another telco conglomerate or something that bought over Neopets.
Can I ask as well, like all the games are like Flash games, right?
Yeah, so and that's why they didn't work as well. So the original plan under the previous management was that like, oh, we want to make it mobile friendly, but web mobile friendly. So not even an app, you know what I mean? Okay. So it was just a whole mess of like, and then like half the website didn't work because they were run on Flash, and Flash isn't like supported anymore. So
right?
Yeah, it's just a mess. But yeah, Neopets was my like bring this franchise back, because there is a deep need for joy in the world. It's like Neopets will create world peace.
So like I have like three things that I really fondly remember from Neopets, which was like, first thing is when you log in, the first thing you do is get a slice of that omelet.
Yeah, the omelet.
Second thing you do is go to the tombola.
Oh my god, what is that? It's like you're triggering parts of my brain that are like
it's called the tiki-taki tombola, and it's like and the guy just it's literally just like gacha, right? Every day you get like one chance, and then sometimes you get money. Is it currency?
Money, yeah. I don't know. Or maybe that's a Final Fantasy thing.
I think that's Kingdom Hearts.
No, I don't know. It doesn't matter.
So sometimes you get cash. Sometimes you get like a booby prize, which is like an old worn boots or something. But sometimes you get something good.
Yeah.
And then the third thing is like my cousin had so much money, and I was so jealous. And and it was because his dad is a broker by trade, like in real life, and he was playing the Neopet stocks for my cousin.
Wow,
that's awesome. Can do that?
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's like that's crazy. Yeah. So those are my
spiel on Neopets. Kind of like furthers that, where I actually, and like all jokes aside, and like all this like surface level wacky whimsy kind of like fun kids game thing aside, is like I think the depth of Neopets is actually quite underappreciated. Where there was actually a lot of mini games in there that were very different mini games, but also like you had like. I think there was one where you had an RPG in Neopets that you could play, and it was pretty basic, but it was like still a full on like internal RPG kind of like thing where like the wolf is going through the world and like you're playing as the wolf. It's like it's just crazy, but it's also reminds me of like I think there were leaps in what they contributed to the video game ecosystem that you see a lot now, which is like customization of your characters, right? Where you had the different paints that you could like coats of paint that you could have on your Neopets, and some of them would be so flipping rare, and
the
like
fairy
you would
paintbrush.
Yeah, exactly, right? And it's just like the coolest designs ever, but you would never get that, And I feel like that's kind of like ahead of its time kind of a scenario where you see that all the time. I mean, you could buy most things now, but, conceptually, I love that. But it was just like, dude, it kind of took the world by storm because I remember so many kids would just like talk about Neopets at school as well. And it's like, it just reminds me of so much joy. So I really want that franchise to come back properly. And I'm really happy that they're on the right track, at least.
Yeah, I think if we're talking about games, one I played a lot was like this fairy bubble thing, which is basically like Bubble Trouble, like puzzle.
Yeah,
bubble.
yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly the mini game you're talking about.
I think back then it's like, well, I don't have access to the actual game, but let me play this one that's like heavily inspired by it. And the other one that I played a lot was called Cheat.
I don't know.
It's a card. It's a card game, and I didn't know what the rules were either. I just thought it sounded cool. It's like, ooh, like cheat.
Yeah.
And then I realized it's like how do you call it? Like really light poker where you put down a card and then you can choose what to say that you put down. And then people call your bluff, right?
Yeah.
So if you say like you put on a king and you say, oh, it's a queen of hearts, but then someone else is like, well, I have the queen of hearts, so you can call their bluff, right? Yeah. But I didn't know what I was doing. I was like 6 or something, right? I'm like, I'll just put whatever. I'll just lie. I just keep lying. I'm like, oh my god, I'm so good at this game. Yeah. So I think those are the two that really come to me from memory. But there was so many as well. Like, how exciting is it? To have this like ecosystem of games that you can play, and then you get points, and it all goes to the same place. So it's like different to like a mini clip in that sense. So,
You're kind of right. It's like it's a closed ecosystem as well, and it all feeds back into each other. So it's like you're sucked into Neopets. I think mine was like there was this arrow shooting game. It was kind of like this bow game. I think I was just so good at it. I reaped the benefits from it. And then the other one is Hassy Bounce.
Oh my god, Hassy Bounce! Yeah, I remember
is just
that.
One of those. It's so rudimentary. It's so simple, and like it's not one that I want to highlight, if you will, as like video game brilliance. But man, I was playing Hassy Bounce on the daily to get those like tries in to maximize the rewards there.
Because I think you can submit your score 3 times per game per day.
Yes,
and then after that, it's like you can just keep playing, but you don't get the rewards for it. Which is like kind of nice as well. Like you can
again ahead of its time.
Think
about mobile games right now, like the whole like you have a limited amount of like energy to like do. You know what I mean? But you can still technically play the game. Yeah. God, bring Neopets back, dude. Like,
yeah, please, and like in like the right way, please.
Yeah, in the right way. I'm really excited, dude. Imagine like 10 episodes from now, we're just gonna be. It's like, hey, how's your Neopets doing? Like, oh yeah, dude, I just got my little
our extensive Neopet review. Did you ever get a pet for your Neopet?
Yeah. Were they not called like a pet?
They were called pet, and then your pet could have pets as well.
No way, that's a lie.
Yes, they could.
There's no way. That's a joke. It's like a Russian doll kind of a scenario. No, I didn't. I got the pets, but like, I was too deep down
pets.
Man, what great games!
Yeah. All right. Awesome. So yeah, those were a few of the franchises we think that they should bring back in 2024. Let us know in the comments if there are any that you would like someone out there, the higher beings that be.
The higher beings, yeah. Like seriously, like what games are missing? Like honestly, like what would be such a cool like, hey, we're bringing this back? Because I feel like we've entered an era where remakes and remasters are so on the table that they're almost losing their value. it's like, oh, they'll probably bring it back, and like you hear rumors and everything. But like, what are some ones that you guys are like clamoring for, like really that like nobody pays attention to? You know, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm really
absolutely.
curious about that.
I'm sure we'll have some like major CEOs listening to our episode and being like, "Damn, we gotta bring that back now."
Bring Blinks the Time Sweeper back! God damn it! Like, I've been asking for.
Is that a real game?
Blinks the Time Sweeper, of course.
Yeah.
The cat, the vacuum time machine cat.
It just sounded like Xbox? It sounded like a Ratchet and Clank, like
yeah, it kind of is. Or like, do you guys remember Scalar, the video game, where it's like you're a little blue alien and you like transform into other like creatures or whatever?
You're just putting like obscure name the obscure thing. It's like Blaine the carpet layer.
Yeah.
Jay the magical creature. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Spyro the Dragon, Crash the Bandicoot.
Crash the Bandicoot, yes. Oh man.
All right. So following on from like our previous episode where we talked about Game of the Year potentials with Michael Heim, definitely listen to the episode. If you haven't yet, it's a really, really good one. Michael drops amazing analysis of all the games that he really likes. So that was one of my favorite episodes as well. But we crowdsourced some opinions from our awesome community as well and asked them which do they think is going to be Game of the Year for 2023. And we got some pretty cool responses here.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this because some people have some really bad taste in video games. No, I'm just kidding.
Some people are just like incomprehensible on the internet, but we'll figure it out.
It's like the 20M podcast, like verbally assaults like listeners of the 20M podcast.
I mean, we'll be real for a second. Like, thanks everyone for sending through your comments. Really appreciate it, and great that we can sort of like have this kind of discussion with you guys, you people. So the first one, I think one that came up quite a lot is a game that we've talked about before as well. It's Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's one of those ones that I kind of like not forgot about, but like it's up there with some of the best ones that I played this year. But maybe because it came out so early in the year, I was like, oh, like, you know, played some other good games as well. But yeah, who recommended Hi-Fi Rush, or who proposed Hi-Fi Rush for Game of the Year so far?
You just want me to say it so that I'll butcher the username too.
Yeah, but caveat here, everybody: if you're a fan of the 20M podcast, you're allowed to not be a fan of the 20M podcast if we butcher your username.
I'm really sorry, but we have someone called, I think it's like VaciVT, VACIVT. I'm guessing you're a VTuber, perhaps. So they said, if disregarding AAA titles, Hi-Fi Rush is my game of the year. So yeah, pretty interesting commentary about, I guess, like what does constitute a AAA title.
Yeah, that's a really good one as well, because I'm pretty sure Tango Softworks is like. I guess you're kind of right. It's kind of like that, not AAA that you would consider, but still pretty big. But yeah,
it's a great game.
Rush is a more intimate experience.
Amazing game, well. And I think the fact that like what you were saying, Arief, as well, like kind of forgot about it, but I think that's more like a testament to how amazing like games have been this year. That it doesn't feel like Hi-Fi Rush happened in 2023. It feels like last year or something. But yeah, we talked about it a lot in a previous episode. We'll link it as well, so you guys can check it out. Down in the comments or somewhere on the screen. But I don't know, what's your summary of it? Did you actually end up finishing it? Because I have to confess, I didn't finish it.
I loved the ending to Hi-Fi Rush because it all kind of culminated together. And without spoiling it, it's like I want to bring out, I think like Mecronus, who's also recommended it as like Game of the Year. They say that Hi-Fi Rush is the best use of the Prodigy in a video game, and so like or the Prodigy in a video game since the set piece of Watch Dogs Legion, and it's my favorite game this year. Like, that's such a cool like niche thing. It's like yeah, like Watch Dogs Legion's use of the Prodigy. No, but I think like my small note on Hi-Fi Rush, I think it does deserve to be part of that Game of the Year conversation. But it had so much heart, and I cried during the last like sequence of Hi-Fi Rush, if you will, because it's all about sappy friendship together. Look at our journey so far, kind of a scenario. But reflecting on that game is just so fun, and it has so much heart, and that's aspects of Hi-Fi Rush that I won't forget. So I did really enjoy the latter half of the game as well.
Yeah, it's a great game. I enjoyed it too, and just like the whole like rhythm battle mechanic thing was very new for me in particular. So it was a great game. Really enjoyed my time with it.
Yeah.
Next game. So we have a whole bunch of games here, but we'll put two of them together, I guess, because they're from the same genre. So we have Persona 3 Portable and Persona 4 Golden, which I don't think is like from this year.
It's like, I mean, because it's technically like they did 3, 4, 5, like all on newer consoles. It was like Xbox, PlayStation, and Switch, right? As opposed, because like P4 Golden was on Steam and Vita, right? Like, so I guess like it's the re-release of some of these games, and then the release of some of these. I don't know, dude. Like,
I don't know. I don't like remake, remaster, like all those different kinds. Like Persona 3 Portable sounds like an entirely remake of the game. But I think Persona 4 Golden, from what I understand, is a port of the Persona 4 from the 2000.
The Vita one, Golden.
The Vita one, yeah.
Which was forget it. We're not. This is not part of the conversation.
But you're more familiar with the Persona franchise than I am. Do you have any thoughts on 3 or 4?
Honestly, barely. And I'll rehash this story really quickly. But like, I'm so embarrassed that like Tosh Bunny guest on the the fourth episode of the 20M podcast. Amazing, shoutcaster, content creator, all that kind of stuff, right? Tosh gifted me Persona 4 on Steam. Persona 4 Golden, because we were talking about like, and like I think we were just like exchanging gifts and all that kind of stuff. I think she got it for my birthday, and then I never played it, and then now Persona 4 Golden is on modern, like newer consoles as well, and I'm like, wow, I think I'll buy it on other because I don't want to sit down on Steam and play the game. So Tosh, I know I've said this story before, I'm sorry, but like I think it deserves, like, these games are like, from what I hear, so timeless. Like, we just had Michael on the last episode, right? And Michael like loves Persona, and then the more you talk to people who love I would say like in the Southeast Asian game dev scene as well, Persona 3 gets brought up quite a lot too. So I don't have too much experience with it, but I am so glad that these games are out for more people to like kind of consume. I want to call, whilst we're doing this like audience call out scenario, I want to quickly call out another frequent commenter of the 20M podcast YouTube comments. August Kun JP, I don't know what his YouTube like usernaming is because it's totally different than his Twitch and like other stuff. But there's this joke where he plays a lot of old games, and whenever he plays an older game, they end up announcing a remaster for it like 2 months later. And after he goes through like the hardest like thing, it's like a curse. It happened like twice before, and I think the last one was Persona 3 Portable as well. So it's just one of those things where I'm so glad that they're more accessible now. But August, please play like Zoo Tycoon or something, so that
please play Tenchu,
and then they'll magically remaster.
Yeah, and Legacy of Kain. That's amazing. He's got an amazing ability there. Yeah. I think my only note for Persona 3 is that one of my favorite voice actors is part of it. So Alex Lee. He voiced Vivia Twilight in Rain Code. He is Luke in Street Fighter 6, and he's gonna be, I think, the main character in Persona 3. So they're re-voicing the cast with new voice actors compared to Persona 3, which is very cool. There was like some pretty emotional Twitter exchanges between them. I think sort of like a passing of the baton kind of vibe. So that was very nice. Yes.
Dude, I'm still confused. Can you get Persona like 3? This is a after podcast conversation. Can you get Persona 3 on Switch right now? Like, I'm still really confused about this release cadence. I know Persona 5 is out on all. Forget it.
the reply in the comments. Otherwise, Arief, it will like impossible for him to move on with his life.
No, like, I'm so serious. I'm gonna look at the eShop right now for my Switch because like I want to play Persona 3 and 4 on like Switch, and I might just like flipping download it right now.
I'm still grinding through 5.
Persona 5.
Like, yeah. I told my community, I'm like, I think I'll be done before the Persona 3 Portable comes out. Maybe. It's like if I play like an hour a day and I miss a couple of days here and there, and then the game is like like 100 hours long. It's like I'm gonna be here for a while. So
yeah, exactly. All right, once you check it, what else? Was there anybody else who mentioned Persona?
I think that was the only person. But then this next game, who also comes from commenter Sensei Gabe 22, is Hogwarts Legacy.
Ooh, that's a great rec because like I know people who did play that one who keep saying that like it's actually a phenomenal video game. Like, despite controversies aside, like the game itself is phenomenal. I did like my like on record thing about it is that like, yeah, I think a lot of the J.K. Rowling, I'm not even gonna say controversy because I don't even know if it's like controversial. It's just like her terrible perspective and her terrible comments and hate towards marginalized communities totally sours my like experience with Harry Potter now. So like as much as I love Harry Potter, it's like, and I'm not uncomfortable playing Hogwarts Legacy. It's just I'm not motivated to boot it up, kind of a scenario. But like I've had so many friends like tweet about it and talk about like, dude, this is a great video game. Are you a Potterhead? Are you a
I mean, I was like,
Hogwartsian?
like I think like growing up as a kid, like I loved the books. I was, really, really into them. My parents would pre-order them for me and I would read them in like, a day or 2 days or something like that. And then there was like a bit of a dead space. And I think it became cool to be like into Harry Potter again somewhere around like university where people were throwing Harry Potter parties and like events and things like that. And then, I obviously like not a great fan of what she's been saying as of late, but I don't think it was that specifically. And I'm also kind of like in your camp, I think, Arif, where I'm like, yeah, I guess if like it fell in my lap, I might give it a try, but I wasn't particularly going for it or not. But similar to you, my friends who have played it have said it's like, if you just look at the game itself, it is a pretty good game. So yeah. We got that from Sensei Gabe, and we got that recommendation as well from Shafiq17 as well.
Oh, cool! Yeah, I think I think I follow Shafiq on Twitter, so it's like I see a lot of them playing it too.
But again, another testament to 2023 being like absolutely insane, right? Like I also forgot that Hogwarts Legacy was this year, even though it blew up, man? Right?
Yeah.
Okay, this next game, I think you'll have more to wait.
Can I pause really quick? Like just a note on this whole Persona thing before we like nip it in the bud, kind of a scenario. The reason why I'm so confused is because, by the way, Persona 3 is on the Switch, and I will buy this right after this episode ends. But like it's because they're remaking Persona 3 as well. Like remember that leak, and then they announced it at the Xbox show that they're doing the remake of Persona 3 in the Persona 5 style.
Yes.
So it's like just Persona mess. I needed to acknowledge that because it's been killing me why I'm like thinking it's not out yet.
Yeah, like why you're confused. Yeah. And then also we didn't mention this because no one brought it up, but like Persona 5 Tactics is the other one that's also coming out. So it's just like a whole lot of Persona that's all happening. Tactica. Do you think Final Fantasy has the
rights to tactics,
so no one can say tactics?
It's like Advanced Wars is Advanced Wars, not like tactics.
It's like
anyway,
tactical.
Let's move on. What's the next game that people of the audience of the 20 podcast?
I think you can weigh in more. So Shafiq17 as well mentioned. Okay, Shafiq17, Shade Delano. I think we had one more Burhan as well. Shout out to Burhan. All these three folks said Tears of the Kingdom is probably going to be
dope.
In the air.
Yeah, I got an angry message from a viewer of the 20 podcast last week. It was like, I can't believe nobody brought up Tears of the Kingdom. I was like, no, we brought it up, but towards the end of the episode, and it's kind of just an acknowledgement of like, it's such a good game, but we haven't finished it yet, you know?
I think the podcast was just like an hour of just like emotionally fueled thoughts about games we loved. And at the end, it's like, yeah, but Tears of the Kingdom's going to win anyway.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
That resignation was kind of...
Yeah, I kind of want to know why they like love Tears of the Kingdom, because I feel like most people have different approaches to it. But yeah, like... No, Burhan's... Yeah, exactly. I haven't played... I'm going to pull up Burhan's comment here because he says, like, I haven't played it, but I'm convinced Tears of the Kingdom will sweep almost all Game of the Year awards, right? So I feel like it's one of those things where it's totally accepted that Tears is such a revolutionary, like, impactful game for the ecosystem that it just will sweep awards in general with the magnitude of which it is being played and celebrated. But maybe it's not people's like personal, like emotional kind of like thing that they'll go to bat for, but it's like widely regarded as a masterpiece. So yeah, I mean, the only reason I don't bring it up on the podcast too much is because I really want to finish my experience with it. But I was just with my sister yesterday. We had like a whole 30-40 minute conversation about her experience with Tears of the Kingdom. And that's very rare for like us to talk about the minutia of games like that, if you will. That's not story based, if you know what I mean? So yeah, not too much thoughts on Tears of the Kingdom, but yeah, 100%. Like I'd echo that completely.
I just hope if it wins, like they put on the display at the show, it's like all the memes that have come out from Tears of the Kingdom, like all the stupid builds people have done to like clear content.
Oh yeah, exactly. All the contraptions and like and whatnot,
the Looney Tune moments where it's just like
Absolutely.
He puts a bomb on the opponent's like hammer thing and he picks it up and it explodes.
Yeah. And that like just at the Game Awards, we need a montage of like dumbest deaths in Tears of the Kingdom.
Absolutely. All right. The next game we've got, again, recommended by Shafiq. We've also got comments about it from... Who else we got here? Is it Shafiq? That's unusual. No, we've got one from Bar Liu Y. Barlui from like, I think this is from Instagram, but both these folks said Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah, that's another one. We talked about it last week as well with Michael Heim, but like I think it's same with Tears. It deserves to be up there for sure, and I think it will be. But we've covered a lot of our thoughts on Final Fantasy 16 so far. But I think it is one of those ones. Like the more removed you are, the less excited maybe you are about Final Fantasy. But dear God, that is a great game. That's a phenomenal video game.
Awesome. Yeah, it's a great game. It's very popular on TikTok. Check out our TikTok, folks, for some interesting clips.
Yeah.
This one here, this also came out in this year. Again, I'm just like, wow, like I can't believe it came out this year. And I saw so much commentary, but I have no affiliation with this franchise whatsoever. So Resident Evil 4 Remake. Again, from Shafiq17. We got that from Shay Delano as well. We got that from a whole bunch of people. Burhan too. His personal pick is RE4 only because I haven't played Tears of the Kingdom. But I don't think you've played any Resident Evil.
No. Either. And this is my, like, I kind of just need time at this point. But I said from the start when they started to remake the Resident Evil franchise that I'm waiting for Resident Evil 4, because Resident Evil 4 is kind of like these widely celebrated, like this is one of the best Resident Evil games in the franchise. So I was like, I knew they were going to lead up to it. And I'm like, okay, once 4 comes out, I'm going to go play 2, 3, and 4. So now that it's out, now I'm like, I just need time to play these games.
Mental preparation.
Yeah, but I hear great things about the remake, and like I've seen streams of the OG 4 as well, and it's just such a like campy, like renowned kind of like game. But yeah, no, I'm not a big Resident Evil person, but this is the one where I need to play this franchise, and Resident Evil 4 remake is finally, I think, the excuse that I have to get into it.
Let me know how it goes.
I'm a big scaredy cat. That's the only reason.
I know, I'm just like that's the same for me.
Yeah.
All right.
What a great year of video games. Like, can't believe Resident Evil 4 is also included here.
Absolutely. So we have another one from Danielle Hasri, and I think their username is FL4KY, Flicky.
Yeah.
And I don't know this game.
That's it. And you just laid it out for me. Dead Island 2. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. When did Dead Island 2 come out? Let's look that up. Yeah, I remember that's one of those franchises where I can't remember if it was perpetually, how would you say, delayed, but it's one of those ones where let me just like, yeah, I think it just got delayed multiple times. Like just because there's zombies, but it's also like one of those ones where I feel like it's a household name for a video game, but it was also like the trailer is what gets referenced and made fun of a lot. Like I think like Goat Simulator did a parody of Dead Island.
Goat Simulator did a parody.
Yeah, that one trailer that like came out. But no, I don't have too much experience with Dead Island, but it's just like, it just feels like a household name at this point. You know?
All right. Yeah, interesting to note that one. I will look this up after recording as well. All right, another one here, Pikmin 4.
Dude, I was going to say, what loser put Pikmin 4 on the list? Like, what Nintendo shill put Pikmin... I mean, Pikmin 4 just came out as well, so I'm surprised that that's skyrocketed to their Game of the Year.
I think Pikmin 4 is, like, insanely popular in Japan. Like, there's, like, Pikmin 4, like, promos, like, everywhere. Like, in all the konbinis, out on the street, on the billboards, and... I still don't know what this game is about. I
couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you.
Everywhere, but also not in my head. Apparently, everywhere. No.
I only know Pikmin from Smash Bros. Like that's like my experience with Pikmin. You know, so
what's his attack in Smash Bros?
You throw little Pikmins at like the
enemy. You throw your Pikmins at the enemy.
Yeah, and they can like extend and help out and stuff like that. No, yeah, but I've been seeing a bit of coverage for Pikmin 4, and it does seem like a phenomenal game. Despite I think some general complaints were like loading times and some, but like level design and aesthetic and all that is like really good, and doing the puzzles is also really good. So I think from in a nutshell, it's like you have a certain amount of time that you need to solve a puzzle, and you can use the Pikmin to help solve the puzzle, but it's all like very, very creative. It's just so Nintendo.
It's just like, what are they? Like, what are the Pikmin? Like, who am I? Am I the astronaut?
Yeah, I think like Olimar and I don't know. This is like the cancel us because we don't know anything about the series and we're talking about it kind of a scenario.
It's just wild.
But this one, I remember, it's like, that's a huge franchise, I feel, like you said, right? Like, despite that, maybe it's not palatable, maybe, I don't know, it's even like a non-Japanese audience, but like, Pikmin as a property so much. And like, how did that game come out this year? That's insane, you know?
I mean, there are so many big franchises. Like, it's impossible to be closely following every single one of them. So it's just like, again, like testament to how big games are and how big fandoms can be. I don't know if I'm going to get behind Pikmin, but Pikmin folks, happy for you. Shay, really happy for you.
I think it's like, I'm hoping for Pikmin 4 to steal the year. Yeah. And it's like, that's high hopes, man, high hopes. Mm-hmm. But honestly, I would love to see some. I bet it's going to be nominated for Best Family Game.
Yep, for sure. All right, we have a niche one from Najmi, the Kampung Nerd. Again, a fellow creator, super awesome dude, covering a lot of interesting stuff in the game space in Bahasa. And his nominee is Figment 2 Creed Valley.
Why does Najmi need to be so cool? You know, it's like, I'm going to choose Figment 2 Creed Valley as my game of the year. Did he say anything about it?
Why? There is a murder mystery section in the game. Full stop. GOTY, full stop. Najmi, if you're a fan of murder mysteries, can we play Danganronpa together? Can we petition for Danganronpa with a Malay dub? I think that would make it like 10 times cooler as well.
Dude, that'd be so cool. You get like a bunch of voice actors as well to do like Malay dub Danganronpa.
Like Suling and all of them.
Oh my god,
for sure. So Figment 2, do you know much about this? I did look this up quickly before the show, but.
No, I was looking it up as well. I feel like I haven't seen it prior to, I guess, like Najmi sharing about it, but it just looks so cool, and I don't know. It's like polished is kind of like one of those things where I don't like using that as like describing a video game, but there seems to be class when it comes to this game. Like they kind of know what they're doing and creating here, so it gives me a lot of confidence that this looked like a phenomenal game.
It's not Devolver, but I thought it was Devolver just from looking at it.
Because of how colorful and wacky and obscure
colorful, wacky, right? And then like it looks like Death's Door if Death's Door wasn't about like death, I guess. Like the antithesis of it, I suppose. Yeah, Bedtime Digital Games is their dev and publisher. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I know Najmi's been on this like kick of like murder mysteries in general, like with properties that they've been watching and stuff like that. So maybe this is just the year that Najmi uncovers the true mystery of
mystery games.
Mystery games.
I'm putting this on my wish list. I think this could be a game for me. Not Pikmin 4.
Not Pikmin 4.
Sorry.
Yeah, the other one, Najmi was the only one that put Pikmin 2, right?
Shay was the one who put Pikmin 4.
No, yeah, I know. I'm talking about like just if there's any other conversation about Figment, because I want to talk about the next
Figment
game.
2. Sorry, I had Pikmin 2.
Sorry, Figment 2.
I have Figment stuck in my head now. This is terrible. His only recommendation was Figment 2.
Got it. Yeah, because I want to talk about like these indie games as well, and like more indie games that are Game of the Year oriented. And somebody put Dave the Diver on here. Who was that? Who recommended Dave the Diver?
Diver was from username Martin Beg.
Oh, I literally played Magic Cards. Magic Cards make me sound like a child. I played Magic the Gathering with Martin a couple weeks ago.
Dave the Diver came out last year.
No, a couple months ago. Huh?
I mean, like here is his release date, like last year. I don't know if that's
what.
Initial release date October 20th. Maybe that was like a prototype or something.
Yeah, alpha. I don't know. I have no idea.
But it came. Okay, so this came out June 28th. What was I doing? I felt like I remember seeing this on Twitter, and also one of my editors. His name is David, and he also loves sushi. And he was like, "This is a game about me."
It's about me. Yeah.
Yeah. But oh my god, it looks so cool. So what is it? You dive for sushi?
Yeah. Like it's like one of those things where the core gameplay is that you explore this underwater, like you're just in the water getting ingredients, and then you're bringing it back to your sushi restaurant that's underwater. And then it's so whimsical and wacky, like most of the games that we've described today. But supposedly there's a lot of heart and references to video games and the culture of video games. And I don't know if there's commentary per se, but a lot of people are speaking, like the conversation around Dave the Diver is similar to conversations around previous games where it's a sleeper hit, and one of those sleeper hits that won't become a sleeper hit as the months go by, you know? Yeah. So I've heard nothing but good things about it. Like nothing but good things about Dave the Diver. So yeah, but what did Mateen say about it? Like
Mateen said, a sleeper pick with great reviews. Dave the Diver, a great game for many of us who enjoy pop culture, Easter eggs, movie references, and memes. Simple game, simple mechanics, and tons of game mechanics for all gamers. A 10 out of 10. Strong accolades there.
That's insane. Yeah.
And just looking at some of the screen grabs here that I've looked up, they're cool. It kind of looks like the restaurant part kind of reminds me of like a Diner Dash situation where everyone's like, oh, feed me.
Yeah.
But then there seems to be like parts where you have like a cooking mama like cutting into stuff sections. And I don't know, Dave just looks like such a cool dude. I love his style of pixel art.
What a chill guy, man. Yeah. I kind of wish it was out on other platforms. I think it's only out on PC and surprisingly it's on Apple devices as well as Steam.
So Apple Arcade?
No, not Apple Arcade, just like the fact that you can run it on a Mac. Like, because you know how some games they don't run on, like you get a PC, they only run PC.
That's super rare.
So it's like, oh, that's really cool. Yeah, so you can play it on a Mac.
This looks like a handheld kind of game. Like I don't want to
exactly. That's why I was like, I want to play it on the Switch, but I know they announced that it's gonna come later this year.
Okay. Looking out for that.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on, we have a few more here. So we have, of course, it wouldn't be a Game of the Year list without A Space for the Unbound.
Of course.
That number 13, shared that one with us on Instagram. I think we're all cried out, all emotioned out from...
Go listen to our last episode and like episode 3 of the podcast.
With Jun, yeah. Those accurately summarize our thoughts. Great game. Can never stop talking about A Space for the Unbound.
Yeah.
And then another one from Chef Selector on Instagram. Their specific words were Landau Raising Simulator, aka Space KTM.
And I did not understand that until you described it to me right before this call.
I mean, like the word Landau, I think when you read it out to me, you made it sound like it was a Malay word. Like, Landau. Like Pulau Landau, like some kind of island name. But
exactly.
Landau is Serval, Japad, and what's their last? There's like 3 siblings, right? It's like their last name. So when he means like Landau Raising Simulator, he's just kind of riffing off the fact that I'm a big Japad fan. And Chef is a big, I just can't remember the third character's name. I think it's Lynx. There's a sibling that's not released yet. And Space KTM, you said KTM is the train.
The commuter rail here in Malaysia. And yeah, exactly. So like the space train.
Yeah. Well, we've talked about Honkai pretty extensively as well. Previous episode, and then I think in other episodes too, where we talked about Star Rail.
Yeah, or listen to our exclusive interview with Su Ling Chan, from voice actor for Honkai Star Rail Bailu.
Absolutely.
That's like the coolest thing that I feel like I can say. You know what I mean? It's like we had the voice actor of Honkai Star Rail's Bailu on an episode of the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. And then we've got one from I think. Yeah. Is Hem. Octopath 2, which we also covered in the last episode. That was Michael's pick for Game of the Year.
I'm really excited. I feel like more people, people love that game, but it's weird how not enough people are talking about it, I feel. But I want to get to know Octopath more.
All right. And then this last one, I want you to say this, Arif. This one comes from our friend. I don't get it. Our friend Rach, I think she's Pumpkin Unicorn on Twitter. What did she say?
She said bald manga tetri. Like, what the hell does that mean? It's just all caps. Like, if you go to my Twitter, like, Rach just responded, all caps, bald manga tetri.
She just had a seizure while typing that.
Yeah, and I was like, dude, are you good? Like, what's going on? What does that mean?
This is my guess. And I think based on the timing of when she tweeted that as well, and just like my recollection of it, I think she means Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's Baldur's Gate. How did you get that?
I might have met Rach this year, but I'm sure we've had many past lives together. I saw that and I was like, I know what you're talking about, girl, and I'm here for you.
Oh my god, you're so right. I think it is Baldur's Gate 3, huh?
Baldman Gate 3, yes.
Yeah. Oh my god.
That should be out in August, I think. So next month. And I know she's been playing. Is it like a demo of some sort? I think she's been streaming it.
I mean, Baldur's Gate came out last year in early access. So like I like, again, August, a friend of ours, like he's also been playing Baldur's Gate like ages ago, but now full release next month.
And Jun said a lot of good stuff about it too. So excited for you folks who are going to play Baldman Gate 3.
You nerds rolling your D20s on your bald people. Like this is the 5th edition dungeon. I'm making fun of them, but I want to play D&D so bad, but it's like, it's based off of 5th edition. So you have to get acclimated with 5th edition rules of Dungeons and Dragons and whatever. I'm so happy for you guys. That was a fun one. That's most of the games, right?
I think that's most of what everyone said. Yeah, like, lots of really strong contenders. Really, thanks so much, folks, for sharing your comments and your thoughts. It's reminded us of what a great year it's been, and all the games we've actually forgotten about. Games I need to finish. Games that we both want to play. If you have further thoughts, please just leave them in the comments here on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, smoke signals, whatever you prefer. We'll try and get to that and respond in future episodes as well. All right, I think that kind of wraps up this episode. A nice, quick, short, and sweet one. If you'd like to hear more, definitely recommend checking out our previous episode where we discussed Game of the Year predictions with Michael Heim from GameSpot. How's that?
What do you mean, how was that? Yeah, that was great. Like, what a great outro, Rino. Everybody, just say in the comments after whatever you have commented that you need to comment, just end your comment by saying, that was a great outro, Rino.
All right, well, take care, folks, and we'll catch you next week. Bye.
Bye.